right, guys, we're back again with another great episode of PFREI. I'm your host, Fuquan. We got another great show. We got Joe Lieber in the house. Joe is a broker / president of JL Investment Group. Joe began investing in real estate in 1988, 1 year before me, Joe. Since that time, he has brought and sold more than 1,000 houses. Now, over the years, Joe has been involved in many aspects of real estate, from the brokerage side to management, rehabs, landlording, wholesaling, and multifamily. In 2004, with the help of his wife and family, Joe opened up the Real Estate Quest, a full-service brokerage that specializes in investment properties. He currently owns over 150 units, mostly the west side of Cleveland. Currently, Joe is working with the national and international buyers of income-producing passive cash flow investments. So that's a little bit of turnkey stuff you're doing there too, huh?
Yes, sir. Found myself in the turnkey space a few years ago.
All right, cool. So the first question I always ask everyone, Joe, is why are you passionate for real estate investing?
You know, I'll tell you, it goes back a long way to the 1990s, really. I saw, as a young boy, I'm 17 years old. It's 1996, and I would get home, and see if anyone remembers Carlton Sheets, and Russ Whitney's late night infomercials. They got the palm trees in the background, a big boat, and they're interviewing someone about owning real estate. And even as a young kid, I was like, wow, what are they doing? It seems they're living the ultimate dream. I got to see what that's all about. So I really got into the business right about that time. I did my first real estate deal at 18, and this is all I've ever known. And it's given me so much. Real estate investing has exceeded my wildest imaginations, and it's phenomenal. I'm very passionate about it. 22 years in the business, and it's really cool.
Yeah, it's a journey, right? I mean, from your time in the business, you have been market cycle tested.
Oh, you know it.
You went through that. I'm sure it's made you stronger. I mean, I like when I have guests on the show that have that experience, because we all went through that process and we had to rebuild ourselves, rebuild our systems, our team. And for me, it was like starting all over again. And a lot of people are saying now, we just left an event where they're saying that the rental market is very strong, and there's no changes in the near future. What's going to happen with that? A lot of the markets are doing very well. What's your take on that? Hearing what we just heard from the economists at the event, and then also in your current market, what are you seeing? Are you seeing any trends or anything that we experienced before?
So, you're right. We were at the same event here last week, and it's great to hear that data. I love hearing data from the best. In Cleveland, Ohio specifically, I don't see any issues, any problems with the rental market or things dipping here right now. Now, some economists say there's going to be a mid-cycle reset, which should happen in 2020 and 2021, and things are going to go back up, and then a massive dip in 2025, 2026. In my market, I don't see any mid-cycle resets for 2020 and 2021. Now, what's going to happen in 2025, 2026? Maybe. I know some of these other larger markets like in LA or Dallas or Miami, they're heavy right now. And affordability is always a question. And when that happens, and if it slows down, if the demand slows down, it's do nothing but lower prices. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I think the rental market's going to really be strong for the next couple of years, at least here in Ohio. So, yeah.
Yeah, so in Ohio, what are you doing? The single families? That's your specialty?
That's my specialty.
Single families. And they did say that that's a strong market. A lot of people want a house. People, when we think of the rental market, there's two sides, right? There's the single family house portion, and then there's the apartment. So people want to have a home so they can have some elbow room, space, backyard to cook out, not have to worry about other tenants. So I see that as something that I'm looking for in my backyard as well, because I have a lot of rental units as far as multifamilies, but I'm now targeting single family rentals. It's good because you can do a triple net lease and pass all those expenses on. And
it's tenant retention. I want to add tenant retention to that. I mean, I owned a 50-unit building for 10 years. I bought it in 07, sold it in 17. And to tell you the truth, it was a lot of work. Multifamily didn't work well for me. I know a lot of folks do very well at it, but there's a lot of turnover. People really, like you said, people want to live in single-family houses. They want to plant flowers in the front yard. They want to have that family feel. And I've always done very, very well in single family. So yeah, that's my niche. And right now I've been staying in my lane. You know, I'm not jumping off here buying any more multifam. Tenant retention, 5+ years for the assets are turning over. It's triple net, like you said. I'm a big fan of single family. I do very well in that space. Very headache free.
Yeah, it depends on what market you're in. I mean, in my market,
True.
we have a lot of. There's certain sectors where we can do single family and really be successful with it because the smaller townships that are hurting. There's a lot of vacant single families, so I can see that being somewhere. But Cleveland, I mean, it's predominantly either multifamily where you have these big units, or a lot of small 3-bedroom, 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom, or 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom house, right in your market.
Exactly.
It's like that in Atlanta also. There's a lot of single family rentals, and different markets have different property types. But let's talk a little bit now, because I don't do any of that. Now, I've done a few wholesale deals when the market, crashed and the banks weren't lending, and I kind of learned that tactic. I didn't like it because it was totem pole. There's a lot of people now that are doing this strategy in their business model, and that's something that I'm definitely looking at. I mean, I see it as, for me, if it's not in my wheelhouse to wholesale it out, if I have the lead that comes through, but it's a whole nother process. It's almost like a whole nother business, right?
Right. Yeah.
And are you doing a lot of that in Cleveland? Just wholesaling stuff that's not your wheelhouse, that don't fit your buying criteria?
The deals are getting harder to get. Wholesaling, I'm not a huge fan of wholesaling. When I actually get these assets, I always want to add value. I'm a big value add guy. So how can I add value? I like to take them to retail or take them to turnkey. So we'll take these properties, we'll revitalize the neighborhoods, we'll get neighbors excited about it, we'll put roofs on, we'll put windows in, we'll put new kitchens and bathrooms. I'm an add value guy. And I've just always been very successful in that, and I've always had the cities like me because I'm rehabilitating neighborhoods, and I've never really done a whole lot of wholesaling.
Yeah, same here. I mean, it's like you just get, every time I go to like a CG event or any event, I'm hearing people doing $1 million a year in wholesale. I'm like,
I know.
It's not on something. I mean, should I hire somebody and start a wholesale division? No, let me focus.
Right. I thought the same thing. Especially you come out of a collective genius meeting, you're like, these guys are doing 150 deals a year wholesale. I'm like, oh, geez, what am I missing?
Yeah, right.
But nothing comes in.
Supposed to come back from that event motivated. I always come back feeling like shit. Like, I got to do more. I'm not doing enough. No,
yeah, you feel like you're not doing anything. I'm like, oh, I'm a loser.
I'm a loser.
It is how I feel all the
time. I thought I was the only one. That's good, Joe.
It is.
No, so what challenges are you running into in your market? I mean, it's not all good. I know. I mean, you've been 22 years. I've been doing it for 20 years, and there's ups and downs. What type of challenges are you running into in your business model, in your marketplace, and what are you doing to make changes for the better?
See, I mean, in this business, like really, if you really start breaking it down, every part of it is a challenge, and every part of it is, in my opinion, really a whole business. So like, let's talk about lead gen, for example. Being a marketer is a business. It's a job. It's a word. Being on Facebook, being active in social media, doing Facebook advertising, direct mail, getting the right data to send people to, and then getting the calls to come in. Now, like, think about it. Like, what's your process? And it's a whole science. So now I have to have a fancy call rail number. Then I have to have a CRM. Then I got to have an email campaign that follows up, because we all know the gold is in the follow-up. A lot of times people aren't just going to sell you their house or buy one right on the spot. It's follow-up. It's relationships. So now I have to have email sequences. Then I got to make personal phone calls. That's an entire business. And then don't forget about the whole contract side. Now I got to buy the asset. Now I have to find a buyer. Now, gosh forbid, if I rehab something, now I have to have my whole project management team, leasing agents, dispositions. It's a lot. Bookkeepers. I own a real estate brokerage too, so that's a whole nother thing. I have 17 agents and operations managers. It's a lot. So really, every aspect of this business is a challenge. It's how do you want to make your money today? What are you passionate about? I just love the business, and I'm going to work hard. Nothing's going to come easy. I'm sure even for Mark Zuckerberg, we all think he's living the dream, and I know that didn't come easy to him. So it's just about being passionate about what you want, and doing what you're good at. I'm a terrible marketer. I am not good at doing Facebook Live, and that's you're not going to see me on Facebook, driving around my Lamborghini. That's just not me,
Yeah.
But it's exciting, and I like meeting with the people. I like doing acquisitions. That's where I shine, So I spend a lot of my time focusing on that and building relationships with buyers and sellers, and try to hire out everything else is what I do. But it's all a challenge, to answer your question. Every part of it, at least for me, it is.
Yeah, if you could start all over again, what would you do different? What would you implement in your business and make it better? If you could start all over. You had the crystal ball.
If I could start all over, the number one thing I would do is day one, I would have hired a coach or a mentor or joined a mastermind or some type of, way to really get my knowledge going. When I started in the 1990s, like you, there was no Google. There was go to the library. I didn't have a cell phone. I had a pager. And if you wanted to learn something, you went to a RIA, which really, RIAs are great in some markets. But in Cleveland, it's a lot of newer people, and it's really hard to learn when you're around a bunch of newbies, right? So I wish I would have day one invested in a mentor, invested in a coach, someone to really help me. And then my biggest takeaway is the money is in your list. You really need to spend time following up with people who already know, like, and trust you. They'll lend you money. They'll buy from you. They'll refer their friends and family to you. So I'm real big on, and I just started getting big on this maybe the last 5 or 6 years, but just working on the people who've already raised their hand and said, I know, like, and trust you. We've already done business together, and focusing on those relationships. There's gold just right there in those people, in that group of people that like you already.
Yeah, that's why I love doing these podcasts. I learn something from every person that I interview, and it's so great. I mean, you got the sharpest minds, and
Yeah.
it's good content to the people. I love it, man. Those are really pull up. Let me get the bell.
Awesome.
Good. That's a little bell. Hopefully, I get a button soon I can press with the sound, but got this little bell here.
That's all right. We'll do it.
That's all I'm working with. So 2020 Q1. Last question. 2020 Q1. With everything you have going on, what are some of the things that you're putting in place to take the business to the next level? Whether it's refining your systems or changing, moving around, starting certain things. What do you have planned?
So here's my big thing, and I paid big bucks for this, so this is going to be exciting for some listeners. My mentor, who I pay big dollars to every year, he is showing me a way to do joint venture agreements, joint venture deals. So, like, right now, let me give you some numbers. Let me give you an example. We'll do about 75 turnkey properties a year. That's a lot for me. All right. And I have a whole team that handles that, like we talked about. But how do I go to 175 without making myself go crazy, work more hours, 2 project managers, 3 leasing agents, 2 dispositions? I don't want to do all that. I don't know if I want to grind that hard. So he showed me a way to do this through joint ventures. He's saying, Joe, let's define what your unique ability is. And we're great at acquisition. And I either have money or I can get money, which is hard for a lot of people. So what I'm doing now is in 2020, I'm going to bring the acquisition, I'm going to bring the money, and I'm going to get a local joint venture partner to handle operations. They're the ones that are going to turn the water on, turn the electric on, go through city inspection, deal with the contractors, or do some of the work themselves, and get this house ready to roll. And then we're either going to retail it, or I'm going to sell it turnkey and bring the buyer. Or if we want to sell it retail, I have the brokerage, so I'll use that for retail, use the MLS. But that's what we're going to do. That's where we shine. My brokerage runs great, easy to do the retail, and I have a lot of turnkey buyers, so I can bring buyers. But it removes me from operations, and that's what I need to get out of right now. There's too many moving parts with it.
So you're transitioning to the visionary 100%.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
That's the ultimate, man. I'm right there with you. That's my focus also. Q1 is not the same exact thing, but to really work more on my business instead of in my business. Because we get owners, we want to touch everything and have our hands on this and have our hands on that. It's hard to say, you just mentioned, when you have your hands on everything. So that's definitely a good piece of advice for anyone who's listening to this podcast. If you are an entrepreneur, try to find out what you're good at and what you're not good at. Outsource and delegate ASAP. right? Someone said it. If it's not what is it, $1,000 an hour task? I don't know. You probably a $5,000 an hour guy. I'm still.
I wish.
So you have to do that. I mean, I've done that with chores around the house. Hire people to come in and do certain things so I can spend my time on the best use of my time on higher priorities. But you got to do the same in your business, right, Joe?
Absolutely. A final ad for you is it's the magician versus the mule. As my mentor tells me, and it's about that. You and I especially, we have that mule mentality. I can do it. You can't outwork me, man. Like, put it on my back. We're gonna get it done. And really, it's not how you can grow and scale. But the magician will put people in place, get the right systems, the right processes, the right follow-ups, the right team members, and everything can double and triple that way. So, final thought.
I'm gonna steal that.
It's good, right? The magician versus the mule.
I love it. Making some notes right now.
Awesome.
I'm the magician.
I'm working on being the magician. I'm tired of being.
Me too. I'm working on that also. I'm the mule right now. I got to be the magician.
Me too.
That's Q1 goal.
Good.
So what can people contact if they? I mean, I know you don't have stuff for sale or anything.
No.
Get back. Like, are you coaching? Or you have anything free on YouTube? Or you said you don't do all that.
Yeah, I don't really do a whole lot of that. You're not gonna. You might see a little bit on social from me, but very little. I'm basically a turnkey provider. So if you're a person who's interested in buying turnkey assets in Cleveland, Ohio, call me. It's a great family-owned operation.
You got a website? Anything you want to plug?
Yeah. So my website's clevelandinvestor.com, and just call me at my office, 440-387-4800. I can be reached at extension 2. And you can always fire me off an email, rebroker, the number is 216@gmail.com.
Well, there you go. If anyone looking for any turnkey investment in the Ohio market, reach out to Joe. Oh man, this is another great episode. I really appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that. It's awesome.
PFREI, another great episode, A Passion for Real Estate Investment. Make sure to catch us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and all the other social media stuff. The list is too long to mention. Thanks a lot, Joe. I appreciate it, man.
Have a great day.